Betting is what you do if you don't have a stable government job, if you don't have any secure pension, the only real pension is betting. That's not progress at all, because the traditional pension formula simply won't apply to you in such a situation. You won't be getting any pension, so the money that you earn, you should consider investing it in betting, and you will certainly get something in return. Add more. Accept it.
In the city of Dar es Salaam, football has become a part of life for many people. And it's not just for watching, but also as a significant opportunity to earn income through exciting betting games.
Because I always say I might quit everything else, but I will never quit betting on matches, because there are many exciting games and a lot of money to be made over time. If you truly look at it, it's a significant amount of money. I've lost some, or I've been beaten, and the ones I won were fewer than the ones I lost, and that's why it's very hard to quit. I like other things, but I keep going until I get something, because it's an investment like any other investment.
You might be able to stop investing, but you can't really stop investing. So for me, I invest, meaning until I die, I'm still betting.
Yes.
Many African countries are facing the crisis of unemployment. The arrival of betting games has become like a savior for some young people, with everyone having their own reason for getting into these games.
Man, I actually started betting in the year 2012, and this is truly the very first time I have ever started betting in my entire life. To show you, that's what I use for school fees. Back then, as young people, we used to hang out in many different places. By spending time together, you got into these betting games. You say that at the Indians' place, they're looking for you. Money, or for many others, you bet, because I truly and deeply love the sport of football. Because of my profound and enduring love for the game of football, and in numerous football-related locations where betting shops are readily available, I found myself, much like countless other individuals, engaging in the act of betting. And with this act of betting, the process of acquiring your money became incredibly easy and straightforward. And for me personally, betting was primarily and fundamentally all about the pursuit of making money. Because of this pervasive betting culture, and you know the team, so I naturally believe that if I bet on them, that will be the commencement of my betting journey.
This dream is not just truly for this young man alone. Hundreds of young people believe the same. At the Indians' place, there's money.
So I saw very clearly that the only viable and effective way to acquire money quickly was to engage in betting. Even though I've lost a substantial amount, approximately 1,200,000 from 2016 until now. But honestly, sometimes I win and sometimes I lose. I can't even accurately calculate whether I've lost more or won more over this entire period. Yeah, it's really quite hard to break even, because you might stake 5,000 and then unfortunately lose it. And then the very next day you could bet 3,000 and incredibly win 18,000. We used to practice by simply hanging out at a local bar, always knowing there was an important match. And I'd be genuinely happy if Yanga ultimately won.
What about the dangers for parents?
I remember I bought a phone. A phone, yes, that's one of the things I actually managed to acquire, a trophy phone. I bought it from betting for the very first time, not some incredibly fancy phone, just a small basic Huawei. It was a truly fundamental phone, you could say, perhaps like a $20 one. a really small and compact model, but it's precisely the one I distinctly remember using at the betting gate.
A lot of people actually, I have a friend, every day, though his income is small, he bets big. Every day he puts in 300,000 or 400,000. And that's his life when he goes to place a bet. He might put in 1 million and walk away with 1.5 million. What kind of business in Dar es Salaam can you do to make 1 million in a single day, every day? Other than betting.
Because I always say I'll play for the prize, but not every match, because there's a lot of money involved. If you look at it, it's money that I've spent or I've lost, and the amount I've actually won is much less than what I've lost. That's why it's so difficult. There are a few other things, but for us, until I get something, it's an investment, just like any other investment.
You can stop investing, but you can't really stop investing. So for me, I invest, meaning until I die, I'm betting. That's just how it is.
It's a personal job that doesn't require any education. That's the main thing. It's just you and your mind. They tell you to follow the big leagues, but you're not the one playing, others are playing. You're just relying on them. If Tanzania is playing against Germany, and you support Tanzania as if the whole world is you, we believe Tanzania will beat Germany. But if you think about it quickly, that's something that's just not possible.
Honestly, I've always considered that. Once you mention a lottery, that's exactly what troubles most people. I understand when you say it's a lottery with team slot is the deciding factor. You might just end up picking teams you don't even have any experience with. On that particular day, the teams might just wake up in good form and perform well, or maybe not. But when you approach it with calculations, unlike just relying on luck, you need to look at the nature of the things you're putting on your bet slip. You see, these calculations really help us a lot. They're used extensively, especially if you know the team well. You understand me? You look at how these teams will perform over the weekend, you check the lineup, but you also consider the key players in those teams. However, when it comes to the lottery aspect, it's a balancing act, because betting is always about calculation.
But one truly fortunate individual genuinely managed to achieve a very significant win. And I was indeed the very person who meticulously demonstrated to him precisely how to place his wagers. Exactly. That is absolutely and unequivocally. This one goes through, that one doesn't. So for the very first time, he actually won a truly substantial and impressive amount of $4 million. And that was last year. But after that $4 million, he hasn't won again. That's the issue this year. A total of 20 million. I mean, his house was under construction. It hadn't been finished at all. But now, as I speak, everything is complete. And it's a big house. It has more than 6 rooms.
He finished everything, and he truly thanks God for all of it. I used to have videos and I used to have significant debts, so I was consistently getting money. I successfully paid off the substantial debts that were piling up, and I also bought myself a brand new phone. I even inquired about the children's phones, and many other beneficial things I managed to accomplish through consistent betting.
That money was able to help me. For example, going to the nearby village to collect fresh produce and then selling it in the bustling town. And that's the business that has remained sustainable up to where I am now.
Through betting, I've actually bought things. I've gotten money before. I once bought a bed, you see, through these betting. There was a bet I placed last year, and I won. My teams, there were about 5 of them, and I staked not less than 80,000 shillings. I bought some of my essential needs. But now, that is something I consider historic. And I realize that betting is a game where we can actually make a profit. For example, I once bought a bet, a good bet worth 500,000 shillings. And even now when I look at it, it inspires me to keep betting.
to see. For example, let me talk about one of my friends. He once staked 600,000 shillings with the betting companies to win 15 million shillings. At the time, he actually owed rent, which he was supposed to pay. And the teams he bet on, those so-called sure holes, as the youth call them, unfortunately, the rent money was lost. And it was just one team that ruined everything. In the end, the unfortunate guy had to leave his comfortable house and go back to his rural home, the place where his family originally came from. And he had to start living there permanently with his family. That truly and very much saddened me, which is why I became very cautious about betting.
I haven't gained anything up to now. I truly cannot stop betting because I am addicted to it. Because if I quit, it wins. But if someone is truly making enough winnings from gambling, and I quit because gambling has already been tampered with, there was a day, just once, when I genuinely won with my teams. I've been at it for 2 full years. One guy won a significant 250,000, another claimed a considerable 100,000 each, and another guy with 2 successful teams. One of the matches was FC Porto, and the other team, I honestly don't know. I truly can't remember at all. And in another year, it was just Porto left, but all those initial bets were completely and utterly ruined by Porto. All those wagers were cancelled, and I ended up getting just 50 shillings for both. Or let's say, as he said out loud, you get 50,000. It got to a point where I truly thought this year I'll get money. But when I advised myself to patiently wait until morning, I woke up at 12 o'clock in the morning. My wife, who was in a small village, called me and said, "Sir, please send me 10,000 shillings. The child is sick and I'm currently at the hospital." Yesterday, I was absolutely sure I would win the bet and get 50,000. I've stopped. I thought if I took 50,000 shillings, I might get maybe 200,000 or a bit more. But in the end, I got nothing because the spirit was present throughout those 2 years at Porto. He didn't win for both of those years. Yesterday, I lost 50,000. And then in the morning, I get a call asking me to send 10,000 so the child can get treatment at the hospital. I don't even have 100 shillings. I mean, the 50,000 is gone.
That was just one day. It truly means that I'd worked so incredibly hard because now the entire newspaper is on the technical side of things.
I got 10,000. I remember that 10,000. The thing I told you in the verse, I put it all on Riani.
He directed it all to Riani. I remember that secretary, 10. I took a risk and put in 10,000 shillings. The stakeholders have become this. I mean, the money really hurt me because at night I spend time with a team that is a failure, yet it's my favorite team. That's what he promised him. That really helped me because I remember it was 1,800,000. Despite the disappointment with PSG, all the opposing teams sent their last men, and it was truly tough because it was really hard to win. 4 o'clock. That significant distance has fallen far behind us now, and that old betting slip I carefully kept as a cherished memory until it completely faded away. Even the original writing entirely disappeared.
We use it quite a lot, and we always look for a really good station.
Ever since these lottery games reached African youth, many of them have become addicted to these games. So quitting becomes quite difficult for them, especially considering the quick money that can be readily made through these betting games.
You see, usually all the judges are here, just one. I see.
I don't advise young people to get involved because it's like an addiction once you're in. It's hard to quit.
This young man is among hundreds of youths living in the suburbs of Dar es Salaam. A significant quarter of their lives is sustained by playing lottery games. It doesn't require a specific time to report to the office. Office uniforms or graduate education, few things are taken into account. Sports schedules, capital to invest, numbers game, then wait for wealth. Air, reading, writing, and arithmetic. It is the only education that can be used in lottery investment. It was once fun to simply watch football. Now, however, it has completely changed to an inspection or a thorough monitoring of the progress of the investments that have been made. This, however, investment has two outcomes: benefits or loss.
None.
First of all, I look until I first follow up on level school. Secondly, I also look at the odds a person is given. We also look at when someone is given 10, you follow them, but you should know that no one ever put 10 and 1 even for a single day. So you look at what position this person is in, what position the treasury is in, what does someone want, what's big ahead, what's at home. Those are the kinds of things we look at. And for me, not too many things, just 3 or 4, that's it.
The main thing is, don't just look at the big team and ignore the small one. Look at what people are saying about their current form. How are they doing right now? Is this team fighting relegation? How will they come? What are they after? I look at that so you don't just bet blindly. When you put your money down, don't just do it because, for example, would you really put your money on Manchester against West Ham just like that?
It's not a must that they lose. So don't just look at it because of the name Manchester. Maybe you died in 2011 and now you come back to life. And you think Manchester is still the Ferguson era. There's a lot of manipulation of results. And those betting companies, this is when they make a lot of profit. But for someone with a big bankroll, that doesn't bother them because even the selections they make in betting are ones they truly believe in, even if others might let them down. But for people who don't have much capital, you get what I mean? People who have small amounts of capital, like 5,000 shillings, 10,000, that's when most of them lose their money. You might believe in a really big team, you can clearly see it's gonna win. But that team, if you look at it closely, even their chances of competing for any kind of championship are questionable. The lineup that will be fielded that day will be an ordinary lineup. So the team must be a pillar. But for someone who maybe needs 500,000 or 1,000,000, do you understand me? that thing can't really be a loss for him because he can just leave those very well-known leagues and look for teams that are perhaps in the danger zone, teams that truly want to prove themselves. Those teams always have to get crucial results. And if those teams get him, then they will surely succeed.
He likes to go through his English. If you mention a league that he really likes to go through, especially just the league. Yes, they don't have a set number of goals, they score a lot. So in terms of competition, going to many is a plus. If he says they even ask for 5 goals, the smaller ones can be used again easily. Let them be the scapegoat. And a big team, Spain, because I really just like the plus. Small artists have scored a lot of goals, for them, you see.
When it comes to betting, we always go with the crucial periods you see. In leagues where they're truly ending, we usually change categories. Do you understand me clearly? The specific teams that can genuinely help you during the periods when leagues are coming to a definitive end are the lower ranked teams or leagues that are not closely followed by many. For example, you see there are many leagues like the Scottish League where there are teams like Celtic, teams that always perform exceptionally well, but people don't really know them very. But also there's the Dutch League, you see. In Holland, there are teams like PSV, teams that usually do quite well, and in betting, they have never truly let him down.
That's really just what he genuinely thinks. He is in Kenya. He ignored the OS. All of them pay 15,000. Every all of us give beans. That is to say, those were absolutely certain. That is, the management is absolutely certain, not merely a guess. That is certainly not a guess. That is absolutely certain because it is a known fact. They are currently sending them to hold important and extensive talks with the various teams. They pay them a significant amount of money. Why are we giving them this substantial amount? You are indeed wanted. Lock him up so that you can certainly get your RA. It is really quite expensive, like 3 times as much. And all of their predictions were for correct scores, so someone will definitely win. To a certain extent, that is true. In this particular scenario, it is important to consider all the implications. They were giving those ones for correct score, and the Citizen matches end. You can clearly see up to the 90th minute, it's still 0-0. But the match ends 2-1, and the one who was told would win 2-1, that's exactly how the results come out. So there was this one particular individual who came and took that specific number. He just went around, took that very number, and then proceeded to call him that guy. He said, now those people are out in the open ruining the business because I gave the number to only one person who was supposed to give those odds and help me make my money. But now that other guy went around, took that number and called him. He said they're ruining the business, but the number has been changed up to today. So that thing hasn't been found again up to today.
You see, as you well know with gambling, they always tell you that you absolutely need to have sufficient capital that truly does not interfere with what we call your essential daily needs in life, you see. So, for example, if you have 600,000 shillings, you should carefully budget it so that if it's for betting purposes, you only use 200,000. That's precisely how it should be. But now, since times have gotten considerably tough,
So you should really know there are a lot of gambling teams out there these days indeed.
These days, there are so many betting companies. They should be able to look at which company offers the most cash bonuses when you place bet. So they can join that one. And even his wife, or if not his wife, then perhaps his girlfriend, or there are so many different and diverse gambling games as well.
First, you follow the teams, and another thing is not to pick too many teams.
you just pick, say, 3 specific teams, put in a really good amount of money, and then you are highly likely to win. It's certainly not like picking 20 different teams and betting a mere 2,000 shillings. That's precisely when the thrill of the game becomes incredibly risky. And it becomes very, very hard to either win or lose consistently. The leagues that I can confidently say are my absolute top leagues, my best 5 leagues, for example, I've definitely seen La Liga. We're going to the Bundesliga, leagues that are always very well known. and the secret with the Italian league, but also the French one. Those are my absolute favorite teams to follow. I truly believe that once these particular teams are solid and consistently performing, and you carefully put them in your betting slip, you have a very high 1 in 100 chance of winning something significant. Perhaps I can mention them, for example, in the Premier League. I always play with the big established teams, you understand. Teams that consistently have a good season, like the formidable Liverpool or even Manchester City. Even though this current season they haven't performed quite so well, but we still confidently go with them. They carry the extensive experience that Manchester City has, but also teams like Arsenal. Arsenal is a team that usually wins many trophies. But if you look at the kind of results they consistently get, they're generally good results. When I travel to Spain, my absolute favorite teams are Real Madrid, and Barcelona, two prominent teams that I always put on my betting slip. They're truly the foundation of my bets because they're teams with significant experience and they also perform exceptionally well. If you go to the Bundesliga, we all know them, but it's just Bayern Munich is a team that will never ever let you down. Their secret over there is that among my favorite teams, their woes and still is AC Milan, but also Inter Milan. If we go to the French league, there are two of my absolute favorite teams there, which are PSG and also AS Monaco. Now, if you farmed but it hasn't rained and you start feeling immense pressure, it means you're not truly human, or you just like anyone else searching, everyone is looking. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. It's like when you wake up in the morning with your motorcycle as a dedicated boda rider, looking for passengers, you never truly know where you find one.
So if you place a bet and then start getting anxious, it means your bet will be affected by that worry. When you put your money down, know that you might win or you might lose. If you see someone who's always anxious, know that in just one thought, they are thinking about both winning and losing. So if today I placed a bet and lost, it's better that on the day I win and feel happy, I celebrate. So today I've invested. Whenever you invest, there are always two possible outcomes. You either win or lose. And betting is just like life. Everyone you see in life is betting. Any business you start is a bet. When you open a clothing shop, you're betting on who will come, whether you'll be able to pay the rent, and what will happen, will people pay or not. So it's a job just like any other.
Honestly, I advise my fellow young people. First of all, betting is like an addiction, and don't let it take hold of you if you haven't started betting yet. Just stick to cheering for football. That's enough, because you hear of people selling even their household items. Someone sells their television, sells their sofas just to go and bet, because by then it's already like an addiction that's gotten into your system. You see, so I advise people not to get into it. Just cheer for football, wholeheartedly support your team, but definitely don't get involved in any form of betting. People should really focus on working instead. If you're already betting now, just keep pushing through this challenging period.
Yeah. The important thing to consider is don't just look at whether someone is big or small instead. Look at what they're truly saying about their current form. How much is it right now? Is this particular team about to be relegated, or are they coming up? Watch that carefully, or don't just bet blindly. That's precisely where you will lose your money.
Tomorrow's significant stake, it will certainly come again and again without fail. And again, players change, but the game will never end.